Hi there, I'm Vlad, I'm a nerd, and today I want to talk about another one of my DIY project that aims to improve my photography kit. Today we're going to talk about Wi-Fi routers, remote controlling our cameras, and a bit of DIY. I know it includes soldering, but honestly, this project is so wacky that I don't expect anyone to even try to replicate it. But before we can jump straight into it, I have to give you a bit of context so you can understand what's going on. Take a look at some of my photos and find the common denominator. No, it's not the amazing grain, because that's just a preset that I sell on my website. It's the fact that all of them were shot on a Sony pocketable camera that I'm filming this video on right now. And while this might not be immediately obvious, I shot all of them by remote controlling the camera with my phone from quite a long distance. And the truth is that the Wi-Fi in this camera is pretty crappy, so I was losing the signal and the entire experience was quite bad. And in my quest to find out a camera with better Wi-Fi, because I really enjoy taking those kind of photos, I found out that with Sony camera you can actually use one of these $3 to $5 Wi-Fi repeater that plugs into USB, and you can use a power bank to extend the Wi-Fi range of your camera. And for a while, I was really happy with my solution. The fact that I could actually remotely control my camera from 100 meters or even more was awesome. Just that I had to carry this pokey thing around plugged into a massive power bank, because that's the only power bank that I have. And now the entire thing looks like this. And if you decide to change locations, you have to take it out, fold the thing. It's annoying and the power bank weighs a ton. So I decided to DIY a better solution to my problem. And at this point, all I had was a bit too much confidence in myself and my ability to DIY electronics, a spare router, and the idea that I wanted a device that's not pokey, doesn't require external power, and most importantly has an on-off switch, so I won't have to disconnect and reconnect the USB plug every time I want to turn it off. So I started by tearing apart the Wi-Fi repeater and measuring the current, even though I was guessing that it draws roughly 5 volts, because that's what every USB-A device does. So now I went online and searched for 5-volt battery packs. And to my surprise, 5 volt is not really the standard. Usually for batteries, you'll get 4.2 when they're fully charged and 3.7 when they start to lose charge. That's because I wanted a single battery cell to keep the size down on my project. So to keep the project simple and small, I end up getting this common cell that is used in a lot of DIY projects, despite the fact that it has this really nice label on it. But because it has these little tabs, I feel safer soldering to them and not directly to the battery. And after deciding on the battery, I learned that I needed one of these tiny PCBs to protect me from explosive death and also be able to safely charge it via USB-C. And to keep in line with the theme of I don't know exactly what I'm doing here, but I'm trying my best, I also wanted to boost the battery voltage from the 4 volts to 5 volts that I thought I needed, so I got a boost converter. This is another small PCB that you connect in line, but more on that later. And finally, I needed a switch to turn on and off the entire thing when it's put together. And putting it together was exactly the next step. The step in which I will learn that I had no idea what I was doing once again. And I also learned that even though I watch a lot of YouTube, I have no idea how to create beautiful time lapses, but if I figure out this project, that would be a piece of cake. And the first thing that I learned by putting everything together was that I was lacking either the skills or the tools that I needed in order to desolder my USB port. And because of that, I decided to solder some wires onto its pins so I can move on with my project. Ugly but functional. Functional unlike this PCB that was not really providing the 5 volts, but instead was providing noisy current, and my Wi-Fi router was not willing to power on at 5 volts, but it did work at around 4 volts, and that was good enough for the moment, I guess. And probably it shipped out because this PCB is unable to charge if you connect it directly to a USB-C power brick. You need a USB-A to USB-C power brick, and I'm not gonna lie, at that point the entire project was a huge mess. I honestly thought about giving up. I didn't know how to manage the pokey antennas and how those would stick out from my project. I had way too many little PCBs that I have to deal with, and I was pretty sure that my Wi-Fi range would be decreased because I was powering the entire thing with a lower voltage than I should be. So overall, not a great place to be, and I honestly thought about crashing the entire project because of all these problems. But we don't do that here. And thanks to worldwide surveillance, I mean social media, when I was looking up some old vintage lenses, I got a recommendation for another router. I mean Wi-Fi repeater. This guy right here has a bendy USB-A head that for some reason squeaks like hell, but I don't care about that as I plan to remove it. And also because of social media works that well, I got recommended this video right here. This shows exactly how I can improve this little boost converter and make the output voltage be way more stable, so maybe I can actually power my router this time. Getting into it proved to be more difficult than I expected, and I ended up tearing the plastic parts apart using brute force, but this time I didn't manage to stab my hand, so I'll take that as a small win. Another win was how easy it was to remove the USB-A port, and the fact that this one has the antennas built into the PCB, so I won't have to deal them when creating an enclosure later on. And those small wins were enough for my brain to kick back into the project and be willing to deal with some more problems. I remembered that because I was playing with WLED and making my own LED lights for photography, like that one over there, I had this USB-C power board that can trigger USB-C PD, and you can power them with any kind of USB-C cable. And finally, because I also modded the boost converter with the information from that video, and this thing right here, I managed to modify my boost converter and soldered everything together for a test, which I forgot to record, but this right here is the first photo that I took with my vlog camera, remote controlled with my phone through the entire mess of wires. And yeah, I know, that's a photographic masterpiece, but I have to move on because this mess of wires needs an enclosure. Again, I wouldn't necessarily say that I knew what I was doing, but it's a box. How difficult can it be? The hard part was deciding the order in which my PCBs will stay inside of the box and the general shape of the box. And I ended up with this shape right here, but the really difficult part was soldering everything inside of it and making it stay together close, even though I still debate adding a layer of gaffer tape around it to keep everything secure. And not gonna lie, these short wire runs were annoying and hard to do, but I managed to get them done, and I think that everything is safe and secure. If you're better than me at soldering, by all means, use the comment below and tell me what I did wrong. But anyway, here's my new Wi-Fi extender for my vlog camera. It's all enclosed in one box, I have switches to turn it on and off, and it has USB-C charging. No more power banks, and no more antennas that I'm afraid that I will break, and no more being in two parts and I have to go through my entire backpack if one of them slides around. It's all here. And I'm really proud of myself, because going into this project I didn't know much about electronics or even designing this enclosure. I managed to figure them out, and I learned a lot along the way. And if you had the patience to listen to me ramble about my project for 9 minutes, thank you very much. I'm really proud of you as well. Please drop a comment or a like or interact with the video in any way so YouTube will recommend it to other photographers. And if you want to learn something as well that might actually help you with your photography, this video right here about grain is super cringe because it's one of my first long format videos, but the info in it is really useful. And one more thing, if you use the code CRC25 on my website at checkout, you get 25% off my color response packs throughout the entire month of May. That's it for today. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next video.